Kelsey, let's watch a clip. Now, this is an interview I did in March. It's actually an edit, a big edit, but I think it's an important thing. This might be one of the most important interviews I've ever done. And this is a 3-minute edit that I think here and now is important. This is Michael Feinstein of the Green Party here in California at a rally recently for Kenneth Mejia and Jill Stein. And I'm here at the Mejia rally with Michael Feinstein.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for being on the Nowman show. Now, what exactly is your position with the Green Party right now?
My position is I'm very optimistic about our party. And here's why. I co-chaired the founding meeting of our state party back on February 4th, 1990. And we felt at the time that there are going to be these historic peaks and valleys. And if there isn't already a greenish progressive political party on the ballot when those key moments come, then we miss the chance of taking advantage of them.
What do you see the Green Party's role is in creating these coalitions?
The strategic choice, I think, for progressives is, are you going to waste your time trying the failed experiment of saving the Democrats? Or are you going to work for electoral reform like proportional representation, multi-seat winners in multi-seat districts, where if a party gets 20% of the vote, they get 20% of the seats? That's the answer in the end. A Green Party under such a system would have 20 to 35% of the vote easy in California and in a lot of states around the country. What the Sanders people who are trying to fight inside the Democrats are missing is they're going to have a civil war in every district with people who don't agree with them. Why you would want to be in a party with people who you don't agree with doesn't make any sense to me. So the irony here, and you go back to the Green Party's role, is we're in about 100 countries. We're aware of how different electoral systems work better in other places. And we have to bring that here, because all the countries that Bernie talked about that have universal health care, they have proportional representation. They don't have winner-take-all system. It is a total waste of time to talk about starting another party when the Green Party is on the ballot in most of the major states in the country. We have a history. The reality is we have a clear platform. We're on the ballot. We have a history. We have many people. We've elected over 1,000 Greens in the United States in our history, including over 350 in California. And we're part of a network of Green parties in, like I said before, about 100 countries. There's a body of work, there's a body of thought that would make more sense to go through now than try and reinvent the wheel. It's hard to get on the ballot in a lot of states. We've already done that. And I just think that the people who want to go into a new party should take advantage of the fact that grassroots people like myself, I had no name beforehand. I ended up being a Green mayor in Santa Monica. I was on the city council there for 8 years. We've seen what it's like to try and do things grassroots without corporate money, without all this, and actually work through the kinks. And I just think it makes more sense for those people to come into the Green Party and respect the only grassroots presence.
So, Michael Feinstein says that reforming the Democratic Party is a complete waste of time. Jim, what do you think about that?
I think that we should not reform it. We should change the name to the non-Democratic Party and then launder money from them into a new party. No, I have no idea what the hell is going on. I think you guys were discussing earlier, I think the best thing to do is just throw everything we have, you know, whether it's the Greens or the Democratic Socialist Party, or against the wall.
A guaranteed minimum income for all people and for all families of our country.
Free money for everyone. You know, I favor a guaranteed income. I do favor that as well. And I think as far as worrying about, oh, well, what social services might become redundant or unnecessary, I don't even think that should be in the near peripheral of thought, because the bigger problem here is that, you know, A, we have a shrinking economy as far as what we're producing. Huge, B, wages have not kept up with inflation at all. And C, I mean, the wealth disparity in this country is absolutely ridiculous. The average CEO makes 475 times the average worker. And Adam Smith never foresaw this, by the way. You know.
Well, and it creates this thing too where you need money or capital in order to feed yourself and provide shelter. And I feel like whenever I get in these talks with people, they're like, well, don't you think hard work should be rewarded? And I'm like, we're not talking about a yacht. or a second home. We're talking about like the basic needs so that you don't die out in the elements. And in order to provide those for yourselves, you have to sell your autonomy for 40-hour weeks to someone else. And that, when you frame it that way, there's something inherently gross about it, because we're not talking about rewarding the brightest minds. We're talking about asking people to exhaust themselves just to survive.